Next question is from Kingsy31. I treat static stretching like trigger sessions a couple times a day for the specific muscles I'm stretching. Is this a good or bad thing?
This is a hack. By the way, this frequency hack that we do with exercise, you can apply to almost any physical adaptation. So like mobility, you could do, 3 45-minute mobility sessions a week, or you could do, 3 5-minute sessions every day, spaced out. The frequent mobility sessions are going to get you there faster. It's just, and this is true for stretching too, for static stretching as well.
This is such a hack that I sometimes wonder if I would have made the progress that I did on my ankle and hip mobility as much as I did if it wasn't for me teaching Orange Theory.
Because you had to do it in every class?
Yes, because it became this ritual that anytime I would send, so part of the class, there's these like 2-minute and 3-minute runs or whatever that you it's like the class is very like, bang, 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 move, and I'm coaching and talking. And then there's these moments where it's like I set them off and I let them do something. And it's always like, no longer than 3 minutes, normally somewhere between 1 and 3 minutes. And so, and at that time, I really don't have anything to do other than maybe check form. And if I have an advanced class or it's an easy movement, I don't have much to do. So I made it a habit that every time I had those 1 minute, 3-minute breaks in the class, every day, all day, I would just get down and do like a little combat stretch, or get down and I would drive my knees forward over my toes, like just, staying kind of active and moving and just doing that. And I think that is what progressed me so fast and so far with that. And I always wonder, like, man, I wonder if I would have had the discipline to really make it that regular had I not had like a little ritual.
Well, yeah, because what you're trying to get is CNS adaptation. You're trying to get your central, because, okay, what determines whether or not a muscle fires well or relaxes well, right? Allows you to stretch it. It's your central nervous system. Yeah. And your central nervous system responds really well to frequent practice. So this I learned about from Jessica with static stretching. So Jessica, in her past life, she was married before her and I got married. So and obviously divorced. That's how we got married. But anyway, she was with a gentleman who worked for Cirque du Soleil. He was a performer, and she was just the wife, married to him. So she followed along. Eventually, she worked for Cirque du Soleil as well, and she made friends with the people that did the silks. So the silks are those long fabric things that you climb and she was so fascinated with it. She was not an athlete. She was not athletic. All she did was running at this point. She did nothing else. And she said, I want to try this out. And she became obsessed with it. And she goes, Sal, I would do static stretching 5 times a day, 10 minutes. Anytime I had a second, I'd get down on the floor and do static stretching. Yep. She went from not being able to touch her toes to, and I'm going to get a picture so we can put on this episode. She would do a hanging splits with the silks or bend herself backwards and became hyper flexible from this method right here of this frequent daily, stretching. And she's like, if you want to get flexible, practice stretching throughout the day. Don't do like 2 1-hour sessions. It's not nearly as effective.
Yeah, I'm with you guys. However, the static stretching part I'm a little hung up on, only because what's your desired outcome? Like, what do you actually do? Because in terms of replacing that with mobility movements, that would be my preference, and only because in terms of like prepping me for other movement and getting me access and strength in that range of motion, if you're trying to just access further ranges of motion and to be able to place your body in those positions, I think static stretching is amazing for that, and also correcting posturally, getting you in better alignment. But in terms of like where we're at now, in terms of like differentiating static stretching with mobility, with dynamic stretching,
mobility
my preference is mobility.
So I agree that mobility is superior. What I found was it was just easier to commit to the static. It was like, it wasn't, so all I would do is like literally just get down and sit in the position. Yeah. And just, so
but you also throughout the week
did mobility
and connected.
That's right.
That's what she did, because she also practiced.
She was active with it, right?
Yes.
So that's the difference. I'm trying to.
So she learned how to static stretch from the Russian performers in the Cirque.
Yeah.
And these were, they were hardcore and they were brutal. And she said you would get in a stretch and then they'd make you fire your quad and pull your leg up, or push down against it, or they
So
grab
it's more
your
like
foot.
PNF.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she didn't know any better. She just did what they taught her, and what they told her, and so she got this incredible flex. And then of course she practiced the silks, which you have to be active.
Well, I
You
mean,
can't
this
just-
person is combining it with our training programs, right? So they're putting it to work.
Yeah.
Too, you know what I'm saying?
Oh
So,
yeah. The only time this would be a bad thing is if you're hypermobile. I would not want someone hypermobile doing lots of stretching.
I 100%. I think we're all on the same page with always promoting mobility, but it is definitely a lot easier to convince someone to get down and sit in a 90-90 stretch or whatever like that while you're watching TV or talking or something like that than like an actual mobility move or whatever. But yeah, ideally you do both. But I think the point you're making that I think is so true is just like, you know, there's a lot of people that like to take like a yoga class once or twice a week, an hour of some good static stretching. And if you are trying to improve range of motion, you are far better off, you know, picking one or two movements, you know, in my case, the combat
throughout the day,
and just doing it 3, 4, 5 times a day, every day in little 2-minute shots. Than you are sitting for an hour.
You'll notice I've done little stints of
this. A huge difference.
And I'm getting motivated actually right now to try and do more of this, but I noticed my flexibility dramatically improve that day. And then the next, it's like you could see the improvements happening so fast with this particular adaptation because it's all CNS. CNS can adapt so quickly when you do it right.
Anytime I can hang on a bar or like in the doorways, I'm always like promoting that position where I'm getting open again, just because it pays dividends.